Hello everybody, it's Kate, the West Coast Paper Crafter. It is October 30th, Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Pacific time. If you're catching me live, if you're catching me on a replay, any day, anytime, I'm glad you're here, whether you're here live or on a replay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kate. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada on Vancouver Island in a little rural community called East Sook. Shout out to my East Sookians out there and all my friends that live rural, because it's a different way of living. Lots of power outages and trees down and the like. All right, tonight, final project in the Amber Autumn card series, and it's project number 6. I normally don't do that many in a series, but it just turned out that way. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this series. If you don't have a fall set, of course, use whatever you have in your stash, because I try to make projects pretty versatile so you can use them with any of your papers and stamp sets that you have on hand. So let me just bring up the comments on my laptop. Hello, Susan from Michigan. Thanks for tuning in. I am going to flip the camera around. Hello, Marion. I see you just popped on. And we're going to get started. All right, it's going to get dizzy. Wait. It's going to get bumpy. You might get dizzy. That's what I meant to say. I need more coffee. And it's, 7 p.m. All right, tonight is a fun fold. If you are crafting along, you are going to need your paper trimmer and a scoring tool. We have got a piece of early espresso. I'm going to raise the camera up just a smidgen so you can see it better. This is 4 1/4 by 11. And then we've got another piece of, early espresso. And this is our base layer. It's 4 1/4 by 5.5. I've got a piece of pattern paper from the Gathering Together Specialty Designer Series paper. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And I've got a piece of Designer Series paper from the Autumn Toile pack. And this is 5 1/4 by 4. Now 5 1/4 on the pattern side, you want it the long way, right? Hello, Annette from Ontario. So 5 1/4 by 4, and this is pattern paper, so that's important. I've got another piece of the Autumn Toile Designer Series paper, and this is 1 3/4 by 4. Susan, that's right. We were talking, your daughter lives in St. Albert, and I have family in St. Albert. So it's a small world, right? And then 2 pieces of Very Vanilla, 2 3/4 by 4 and 2 1/4 by 4. Now, I have the long and skinny textured notes die cut in Very Vanilla that I'm going to use and this is, let me see, 3 1/2 by 3/8. 3 1/2 by 3/8, yeah. All right, see what I mean, friends? I do need coffee. I need coffee all day. Hello, Janice. Hello, Kate. Gina Marie, thanks for tuning in. All right, let's get some of these pieces out of the way because we've got some scoring and some cutting to do. So let's cut first. I'm going to take the piece of Designer Series paper that is 5 1/4 by 4, and we are going to cut this paper a few times with our paper trimmers. All right, let's see. Yes, I have to think about this because when I made my sample card, of course, I messed up. Hello, Tessa. So I have to give a shout out. Now, I did not design this card. My friend Kathleen, she sent me a reel or something, a Facebook thing. I think it was a reel. Sorry, Kathleen. See what I mean? All right. My friend Kathleen sent me something from Facebook by a crafter who goes by Simply Simple Stamping. And I am casing her card tonight. So if you haven't checked out Simply Simple Stamping, she's worth the time to check out because she shares a lot of really cool projects. So this is her project. I am casing it tonight. Thanks to Kathleen who brought it to my attention. Hello, Kathy. Hello, Susan. All right, so we're going to cut this designer series paper a couple of times, 3 times. All right, so make sure you have your paper on the long side, so 5 1/4, and the first cut that we are going to make is at 3/4 of an inch. All right, 3/4 of an inch, and this is where I made my first mistake yesterday because I actually cut it at 1 3/4. All right, so we've got 3/4 of an inch. Now you're going to take the paper, don't flip it, just cut it again at 1 3/4. All right, piece number 2, and then last cut 2 1/4. And then we have a piece left over that is 1/2 inch. All right, so we have cut on the long side 3/4 of an inch, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, and 1/2 inch. All right, I feel like, should I write this down? Maybe I should, hey? Just in case, just in case. So we're going to cut at 3/4, 1 3/4, 2 1/4. And then you're going to have a leftover piece that's 1/2 inch. All right, now we're going to score the early espresso, the one that's 4 1/4 by 11, and I might as well just write down the score line so it's easy for you guys to write down or take a screenshot of. So we're going to score on the long side 1, 3, 5 1/2, and 8. Okay, I should have thought to write that down first. I would have saved some time. That's okay. All right, I'm just going to move my stuff out of the way. I feel like I just had it up on a basket, and if it falls, it's going to fall behind my desk, so I have to move that. I gotta think about these things. Okay, so I've got my paper trimmer out again because I've got the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, and it scores and cuts. And it's also got this arm, so it allows me to extend the arm for longer cuts and scores. All right, the 4 1/4 by 11 on the 11-inch side. Get your cutting blade out of the way. I'm talking to me because I'm the one who's going to make a mistake. First score line, 1 inch. Second score line, 3 inches. Third score line, 5 1/2. And our last score line is at 8. All right, so we've got 1, 3, 5 1/2, and 8. Now we don't need the paper trimmer anymore. You can get that out of the way. If you have a bone folder, you might find the bone folder handy for the next steps. So now what we're going to do is fold this early espresso like an accordion. All right, so this is where we scored at 8. So I'm folding all of my paper over. I'm going to burnish that score line so it's nice and flat. Then I'm folding on the second score line. It'll be the 5 1/2 inch score line. I'm folding back. So I'm folding like an accordion. All right, now on the 3-inch score line, I'm folding in, or folding towards, and then my last score line, which is the 1-inch score line, I'm going to fold back on itself. So now we've got this accordion type fold. Okay, I hope that's making sense for all of you. And here's where all our pattern paper pieces come in. So at the 1-inch score line, I'm going to glue down that piece of pattern paper that was 3/4 of an inch, followed by the second piece of paper that we cut at 1 3/4, followed by the 2 1/4 piece. Now don't worry about these pieces because I've got some berry vanilla for that. We're still going to use this little half-inch piece. Hello, Donna from Washington. So let's get gluing. I double checked. I made sure my glue was going to behave, so there shouldn't be any hiccups tonight. I always worry a little bit with fun folds that they're going to take a really long time to do, and I'm kind of a short and sweet person myself. Like, if I'm watching a card making tutorial and we're going over to the 40-minute mark, I'm ready to get up and make a snack. It's my attention span, right? I just don't have it. So I try to keep these tutorials short and sweet so they're not, you know, overwhelming. All right, here's our second piece of pattern paper. This one again is the 1 3/4 inch piece. So 1 3/4 by 4. Now you don't have to use the same pattern of paper with this. You could just cut your pieces to 3/4 by 4, 1 3/4 by 4, 2 1/4 by 4, and you could change it up, right? I mean, you could do anything. Hello, Janine. Thanks for tuning in. So today was a really busy day at work, and I've been having some serious computer problems. So today, my IT people, they had re-imaged my laptop, and then my microphone stopped working, and I was trying to do a Teams meeting with my team, and they couldn't hear me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's next? This computer thing. So I took the computer up to the IT guys, and as they were trying to fix it, they said, well, hey, why don't you use a web camera? Barbara, thanks for tuning in. It's so nice to see you. I hear it's getting really cold in Alberta. Okay, thanks, Kathy. You're sweet. And hello, Yolanda from Indianapolis. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. So while I'm yakking away, this larger piece of Very Vanilla, that's 2 3/4 by 4, we're going to glue this down to our last piece on our fold, and then we're going to glue that little 1/2 inch strip down. So my IT people gave me a webcam for my laptop at work, and I do work in an office, but on Wednesdays I have remote days. And on the weekends, I always take my laptop home with me just in case I get a call to come into work. And then I can just work from home. Easy peasy, right? So I brought the webcam home and I thought, well, you know what? It's for work, but I should give it a try because I'm going to have my very first Zoom card class online on Saturday. And I thought, oh, I should try this web camera. I bet it'll be great. So I've been trying to teach myself how to use a web camera with Zoom. And, you know, it should be really easy, friends, but I'm a little bit technically challenged. So my work web camera that is going to be in my work bag might also double for my Zoom web camera if I can get it, you know, working without any problems. So I just glued that last piece that's 1/2 inch by 4 on the very edge of that Very Vanilla layer. And now on our last piece of Very Vanilla, this one is 2 1/4 by 4, I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. Hello, Sheila from Kelowna. Thanks for tuning in. So I have got, oh, I thought I grabbed early espresso ink, but I'm wrong. I have Cajun Craze. So what I'm going to do with the Cajun Craze is I'm just going to stamp some leaves on the edges of this paper. I just want a little bit of pattern. So I'm just going to do the 2 corners, and then I'm going to stamp a sentiment right in the middle. Now, I did say in the supplies I was going to use Tuxedo Black, but I don't think that's going to be the case after all. So before I forget, because I've got this ink here, I'm just going to give my glass mat a quick cleanup so I don't make a mess. So if you have a glass mat, it's super handy to keep clean. I use rubbing alcohol, and I also use, as you've seen when I was writing down the cut measurements and the score measurements, that's just a permanent Sharpie marker, and I can take that off really easily with a little bit of rubbing alcohol or isopropanol alcohol, depending, you know, what you have in your drugstore. I just get it from the drugstore. It's in the first aid aisle, but trust me, if you clean a wound with rubbing alcohol, it's gonna sting. All right, so I've stamped You're Simply the Best right in the middle of that piece of paper. Hello, Delana from Texas. I hope I'm saying your name right. Now, sometimes dark colors, they need a second to dry or they smudge. So that's why I'm waving this in the air, just drying it. I'm paranoid. Usually the colors dry really fast, but some colors for me, like the reds, Mambo Melon, and I'm suspicious of Cajun Craze. To me, that feels like they need a second to dry or they're going to smudge. I mean, nothing wrong with a little bit of smudge. Hey, Karen, thanks for tuning in. All right, so now our fun fold, the accordion fold, is looking like this. And this is going to be the front and the focal piece of our card. So you can leave this cardstock the way it is. That's totally fine. But I've cut another piece of cardstock, and this is 1 3/4 by 4, and I'm just going to glue that down there. So I've got a little bit more visual interest to the front focal piece of the card. Totally up to you. You do you. No matter what you do, it's going to be pretty. And handmade, right? That's key. I think we all love to get handmade gifts. At least maybe that's just me. I love handmade gifts. And I like to make handmade gifts too. I've been making some handmade gifts with my Cricut over the weekend. And I'm excited to give out some of those gifts. I can't show you guys yet though, because there might be some people watching that are going to get a gift, and I don't want to ruin the surprise. I'm not naming any names, but their first name starts with the K and ends with Aaron. That's right, Karen. I made you a gift. Hello, Lisa from Wisconsin. Leanne. And my favorite nickname. Okay, so this is going to be our focal piece. We're going to need some ribbon. Hole punch is optional, and also a sentiment for the front is optional as well. So let's give this a try. I'm going to attempt to stamp Grateful for You on this skinny little die cut, and let's see what happens. Hopefully it's not too crooked, because I do tend to get things a little bit crooked. Oh, nailed it. That's probably the best I've ever done on a live. I'm feeling pretty good tonight, friends. All right. Now, move that out of the way, and we can put our card base together. So we're just going to mat our designer series paper that's 4 1/4 by 4 onto the base layer that's, wait a minute. What did they say this was? Okay, this piece is 4 by 5 1/4. The base layer is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so just a little bit bigger. Thanks, Karen. Karen says I really am the best, Kate with a K. Yeah. Okay. So after my IT issues, which actually have been ongoing for 5 months, which is why my computer finally got re-imaged, I've realized how much stress my IT issues have been causing me, because it really impacts my ability to do my job if I cannot access, all the programs I need to access at work. So it's been 5 months of me feeling a little bit grumpy about work, and today I realized that all that needs to change is a properly working laptop. I am such a simple girl. I just need a laptop and a little bit of coffee. So today, while I was facing some computer issues, somebody popped into the office for a visit, and they brought like jugs of Starbucks, these big carton containers of Starbucks coffee in the blonde roast and the dark roast. Now we're talking my love language. And then I go to my IT people, they fix my problems and give me a web camera, also talking my love language. So I left work feeling pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to add some ribbon behind this piece, and that's going to close it together once we mat it to the base, the card base. So I'm going to be very generous with my ribbon. So I can tie a nice big bow, but I also need ribbon when this card opens up, and I'll show you why. So I have got about 26 inches of ribbon. Do I need it all? Maybe not, friends, but maybe I will. I don't know. All right, so here is where the optional hole punch comes in. You do not have to hole punch if you don't want to. It's just an option. I am going to punch a hole right through the designer series paper and the cardstock on that first flap where we scored the cardstock at 3/4. Wait, 1 inch, sorry, not 3/4. So on the first score line where we scored at 1 inch, not quite in the middle, I'm just punching a hole. And then I'm going to punch a hole in my sentiment piece like that. And then I'm going to thread one end of the ribbon through that hole and through that sentiment piece. Now, you do not have to do that if you don't want to. You can just tie a ribbon right around the accordion fold and that will work just fine. So the reason why I have cut a bunch of ribbon is because when we open up this card and you pull it all the way out, it's going to pull this ribbon, right? So now I only have this much ribbon left. So that's why I was like extra generous with the ribbon. Hello, Diane. Yeah, Susan, the paper's great, hey? The paper's great. I have not been sad about all these fall projects I've been doing simply because I'm a fan of the paper, especially the Gathering Together Designer Series paper, the leaf pattern. The sample or the card that Simply Simple Stamping showed in the reel that Kathleen shared with me, she used the leaf pattern in the Gathering Together Designer Series paper, and it was just so beautiful. And I wanted to use that same ribbon, but it didn't seem right, you know? She's already shown her card. She's made it on a YouTube. She's made a reel. I can't copy it exactly. I just got to case it, right? All right, so now I have the ribbon where I want it. I'm just going to add a little bit of tear and tape to the back of this card stock to hold my ribbon in place. So I know it's exactly where it's supposed to be when I glue this down to the base of the card base. Words, Kate, working on my words. Hey, Lena, thanks for tuning in. All right, so now I'm going to fold that ribbon over. I'm just going to let that tear and tape catch it. Looks even, and then I'll add some glue. And we're going to attach this right in the middle of the card base. I'm going to be pretty generous with the glue. Who am I kidding? I'm always pretty generous with my glue, but I'm going to be extra generous with my glue because when this piece is all folded up, it's pretty thick, right? And the mechanism, you know, unfolding it, it pulls on the paper a bit. So yeah, I'm going to get crazy with the glue. Crazy with the glue. That's a lot of glue. Where's my friend Carissa when I need her? She loves my glue scribbling. But it's really late on the East Coast. Okay, so this, you're just going to want to get your ribbon, make sure that it is where you want it and nice and taut so you don't have ribbon bunched up underneath that layer. And then you're just going to layer that down right in the middle, and it'll help if you unfold it a bit, and then you can add some pressure to the bottom layer to get that glue down. Really stick it down. Yes, Karen, words are hard. Words are so hard. Anyway, that's that. All right, it feels like I've got it. Tombow it sticks pretty quickly. I mean, you have a few minutes to move it around when you need to reposition it, but that feels pretty good. So now, this is our card. So completely unfolded. You've got some space to write out a sentiment. Practice what you say first, you know, because words are hard. And then a little bit of stamping with the sentiment. And I don't know if you can see this, Leanne, you're going to love this. I smudged. I definitely smudged. Okay, so here we go. Now to close your card, you're just folding in like an accordion. You're going to snug up that ribbon. And then of course you got to move your sentiment down because that's going to slide up too. And then you're just going to tie a bow. And that's our fun fold. Hi, Judy. So thank you, Kathleen, if you catch this on a replay, for sharing this idea with me. It's lovely. And when I post this later, I'm going to have to give Simply Simple Stamping a shout out because she made it and I cased it. I'm on a roll for casing. If you caught my Monday live, I cased from the Stampin' Up website too. All right, there we go. Project number 6. Now this bow is pretty big. I don't love huge bows, but it's kind of important for this particular card. So I hope you like this. Super simple. Let me know in the comments if you already know about Simply Simple Stamping, and she might be old news for everybody. So this is the sample card that I made last night. I did Lost Lagoon. I just embossed it with the Forever Plaid 3D embossing folder. I used Early Espresso, Lost Lagoon for the base layer, Early Espresso for our folding piece, and then I used the Everyday Happiness Designer Series paper, still available online. I checked. Hello, Renee. I actually do not have a PDF with the measurements. I don't always make PDFs. Sometimes I make PDFs for my subscribers, but not every card I make because I work full time and time is my problem. A lack of time is my biggest problem. But if you check out Simply Simple Stamping, she's got a blog, and I know she shares project sheets with a lot of the projects that she makes. So please check out Simply Simple Stamping. I think it's just simplysimplestamping.com for her blog. And you're also going to find her on Facebook, on YouTube. Anyway, it's great. Okay, I'm missing some comments. I feel like I'm missing some things that are important. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have a tutorial, but please do check out Simply Simple Stamping. She might. Hi, Brenda. Okay, so here's a sample. I absolutely love this paper. I have brand new sentiments from my pre-order. I wonder if I have those handy. Of course, I don't have anything handy to show you. Oh, wait, yes, I do. Banner sayings. So consider yourself hugged. It's tiny little script from the banner sayings that's coming out September 4th. I think that sentiment is the reason why I bought this stamp set. So lots of really small and nice stamps, sentiments. You are loved. Consider yourself hugged. Thank you. I do. Wishing you good things. You did it. I'm here for you. Thanks a million. Cue the confetti. You're the sweetest. There's so many. I just love them. And then it comes, you can also get it as a bundle, and it's got a punch. So you can punch out the sayings because they fit on the banners. Easy peasy. That's coming out in November. All right, so sample card. They don't have the stamps for the Everyday You and Me bundle anymore. So I just cut some of the flowers out of the Designer Series paper, glued them in the corners. I used some gold striped mesh ribbon for my sentiment. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. For my ribbon. Yes, Brenda, time. That's the problem. Trust me, friends, when I retire, then you're going to get PDFs for everything. And maybe I'll have a blog and I'll do all the things I want to do with my crafting hobby because I like PDFs too, like a lot. I love PDFs. Okay, but what I will do is I'll do a short reel with all the measurements in the reel. So you can stay tuned for that because I do have a reel ready to go for this one that I made. I just need to add some text with the measurements, the cuts, the scores, and then it'll be under a minute. So a really short video tutorial that you can save for later. So I hope you guys like these. I think these are really fun. And let's do a little recap, and then you guys can tell me what your favorite one has been. So project number 1, very simple. We just did our own background stamping with Early Espresso right on crumb cake, and then I brought in the earthen toned metallic specialty paper, which is gorgeous. Project number 2 is the pocket card. I know you guys have heard me say this before. Mine's pretty snug because I was too gluey, too gluey on the edges. And then we did, what was next? The easel card was next, which is really easy to make and super beautiful, but one of you told me that you have to let people know how to work these sometimes. So I can't remember who it was. If you're watching and you told me this tip that you only do easel cards for cards you give out in person so you can show someone how they work, right? So I love this one, but I'm really a fan of this pumpkin paper. And then we did project 4, which was a really simple use up your scraps type of paper with the Gathering Together Designer Series paper in the leaf pattern. Project number 5, we brought in that fancy detailed die cut, did a little bit of coloring with our watercolor pencils and a blender pen, and then tonight's accordion fun fold, right? All right, that was really fun. All right, Susan, you live for PDFs because you can't make cards unless you've got the numbers. Oh, because you have dementia. I get it. Okay. Well, Susan, I hear you. If I get some time and I make PDFs, then, I'll share it with you. No promises because, full-time work, family. It's my pre-birthday weekend coming up. I'm going to be turning 50 next Friday, and my friend Tanya, the Canadian stamper, has taken me out tomorrow night. No, not tomorrow night. Saturday night for a overnight at a fancy hotel in Souk, and we're going to have some manicures done and go out for dinner. So I feel pretty lucky about that. So it's my birthday weekend, pre-birthday weekend. Turning the big 50. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, that's that, right? I'm starting a new chapter of my life. I feel like I'm in a messy middle with family and work, and retirement's not quite here yet. It's the messy middle. Susan, yeah, don't hold me to it, but I will try to do something for you. And actually, Susan, if you could send me a private message on Facebook, then I'll send you some of the PDFs that I have stored in my files for your future crafting. So pop me a message, a direct message. And I only ask to do that is because I don't think I can attach PDFs to comments. And sometimes Facebook doesn't let me send private messages to you guys. For privacy reasons, that's probably a good thing, right? It's probably a good thing. So before I forget, Nancy S., if you're watching on a replay, I saw the review you left me on my website. I saw that, and you really made my day. So Nancy S., thank you for being so thoughtful to leave me a review right on my website. You're the first one that's done that, and you were really kind. So you made my day when I saw that. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. 50 is the new 30, Kate. That's good. I was hoping to, drop a few pounds before my 50th, but I don't have much time to hit my goal weight. Maybe for 51. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you're catching this on a YouTube, you're going to find the measurements and the supply list right in the video description. Now, I will post a picture of the final projects on Facebook in about 20 minutes. And in the comments, I'm going to include the photo measurements picture that I send out the day before the live, just so you guys don't have to dig around if you need to find that. So I'm going to start doing that. I should have been doing that all along. So you can expect to see that. And I think that's it. I've missed some comments. I'll go back in. I will read everything, and I hope to see you guys again on Monday night with another project. I don't know what it's going to be. I'll figure that out Sunday right before bed in typical Kate fashion. All right, bye for now and have a really great night. I'm grateful for you all, and I'm just so happy you spend some time with me out of your day, whether it's live or on a replay. Bye for now.